Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show. Today, we're going to go into the mind of a young man who used harassment to enter a field. I'm not going to say what that field is because I don't want to give it away, to make a difference. How often do we really see this? We see it in like the military and stuff like this, but this is a particular field that with what's going on in today's society would make you wonder why you choose to get into this particular field. More importantly, what were some of the situations that resulted in you going to that particular field? And then since entering this occupational field, what has changed? What needs to change? And what are you doing since you've did this for a mission? I'd like to welcome to the show one of the most powerful podcasts, The Miller Experience. And let me tell you guys something about The Miller Experience. You guys really need to check it out because it clearly caught my attention. Even some of the topics that he's addressed on there needs a voice. It needs the viewers that are watching these podcasts to stand up and make a difference. Make this shit go viral so people can understand what's going on. So without further ado, let's welcome to the show the one and only Xcalibur Miller to the show. What's up, big dog?
Dre, what's up, big dog? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Such a powerful podcast. But before we get into the podcast, because there's a reason that this started, tell the
Mm-hmm.
viewers a little bit about Excalibur.
Man, Xcalibur's a family man. Been married for 12 years, 6 kids. Live in Sumter, South Carolina. Um, Raised by the excellent family. My father, Ernest Miller Sr., my mom, Cynthia Miller, my grandparents. Uh, Excalibur just want to be the change, man. I like to walk it like I talk it. I just want to be the change, man. I want to be that voice to somebody else that can spark something else going on positive in the world. That's Excalibur.
What was it like growing up for you in the South? We hear different regions talk about different ways in which they grew up. We had a young man on from Long Beach, the California region. The way in which he grew up was completely different from the way I grew up in the South and from the way I grew up in the Midwest. What was it like for you growing up in where you reside?
Growing up in the South was fun, man. A lot of outdoor living, country fed. Uh, it's not like what everybody think it is. Yes, there's a lot of racism, but I haven't experienced that in my youth.
Right.
As I got older, I did. But my family, my grandparents on my dad's side, they raised, they like farmers pretty much raising pigs and air chickens and everything else. And my grandparents on my mother's side, they were more into the business. My grandmother owned a daycare center. My grandfather ran a duplex and had real estate property.
Right.
So I mean, I had the best of both worlds, man. But one thing I will say, how I was raised, hard work, never accept anything that you wouldn't be proud of.
Right.
Always stand 10 toes down
Okay.
and always be a man of your word. But I was taught by my family raising in the South.
You said you experienced your first encounter with racism
Mhm.
at starting in your teenage. How did that come about?
So never forget, my brother and I was leaving from the gym in Jacksonville, Florida. Back to back traffic. And really anything, just typical day in Jacksonville. If you ever been to the city, you know how it is, city
Hmm.
type of day. Um, I just remember drinking a big, tall bottle of smart water, just drinking it. And next thing I know, blue lights started coming behind me. Ain't thinking much. I'm telling my brother, I'm like, man, what's going on? I said, it must be somebody beside us. And, they got on intercom and described our vehicle, told us to pull over my shoulder, which I did. Um, Officer approached my vehicle, informed me that we fit the description of two black males that just robbed a store and our vehicle also fit the description also.
Mm,
I'm like, man, I said, that's not us, officer. So, they took us out of the vehicle, cuffed my brother and I, and started searching the vehicle. Didn't find anything. Let us go. Officer hit me with a citation for a seatbelt. Well, I asked the officer, I said, what is this for? I have a seatbelt on. He said, well, no, you didn't. I'm like, okay, but that's not what you stopped me for, but I have my seatbelt on.
right.
He like, just take the ticket and drove off. Now, talked to my aunt about it. She told me let's go to court and fight it. Even though it's a $25 fine, no points to get your license, anything. It's just the principle of the
Right.
of the matter. Uh, that's not what you originally pulled me over for.
Right.
He didn't show up to court, so obviously the case was dismissed. Fast forward to that, I remember me and my brother and I was going to so in
Was he
Jacksonville.
a was he 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 a colored officer, white officer?
He was a white officer, but he had some black officers around too.
And the black officers witnessed
They
the
went along with it.
okay, so go ahead. So then you had another incident that happened.
So in Jacksonville, Florida, I went to a predominantly white high school. It was pretty much mixed. So I had a bunch of, white friends, black friends. So one of my white friends had a big house party in the neighborhood. They live in a well-to-do neighborhood. Now, my car ain't the best looking car, right? I remember back in high school, they used to call me OJ because I drove a white Blazer like the Bronco. You know what I'm saying?
so
Down, it
did
was handed down vehicle, right?
so did my buddy.
Yeah. So my brother and I headed to the party. I guess the officer saw me and my brother in their neighborhood and just pulled us over. This is the first time I actually discussing this. Nobody in my family know about this but me and my brother.
Okay.
Uh, pulled us over and asked us, what you N-words doing here?
What?
I said, excuse me? He said, well, what you N-words doing here? I said, we going to a party. I gave him the address such and such. Um, they had us detained until somebody can come
To verify.
verify that we're there for that party.
How old were you?
17, 17 years old. Now, after that, I didn't experience anything. Well, I probably did, just ignored it. Because at this
Right.
point, I'm getting numb to it. I'm getting numb to it. But as I got older, I was leaving from my ex house, going back home, had a headlight out on my vehicle. That I pulled over. Um, I mean, which is what I do too. If I see a headlight, I'm gonna pull the vehicle over. Um, the officer spoke to me. The way he talked to me is very aggressive. I'm like, you just pulled me over for a headlight. I'm just asking you what was the reason why I'm being stopped. So he ran my license, told me my license was suspended, hooked me up, sat in the cell for a couple of hours until it was being able to identify that my license wasn't suspended. Didn't get an apology or nothing. So I say all this to say this. My reason in getting into law enforcement was those three factors right there.
Right.
A lot of people get on social media when officers do certain things. Everybody want to go on social media and start complaining about it. That ain't how I built, man. I'm walking like I talk. Um, I was like, well, I don't have a record. Um, my background's pretty good, credit's pretty good. I said, let me go ahead and apply to the agency and be the change. So my whole goal was going to law enforcement is I wanted to be the change. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be that guy that when people see me, oh yeah, that's Miller. He's gonna do his job, but he's fair, which is what they say now.
Right.
Um, I know that issue with the suspended license. Uh, I knew what happened, but I want to give that somebody that courtesy. If I ever come into contact with someone with that same situation, I can kind of empathize with them because I've been there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like, hey man, I'm gonna just write you the citation. You come to court, show me taking care of it, we work it out there
Right.
instead of going the other route.
You sound like my brother that's in
Mhm.
Rashid. He's the same way, and I think, and my brother Dre in Cincinnati, and I think
Yeah.
that's what all officers should do. You should try to put yourself in that position. Like, what would you have done if that was you? Kind of like reverse psychology, so to
Exactly.
speak.
Exactly.
But let me go back a minute.
Mhm.
You said several things that was pretty impactful to me as far as I'm
Mhm.
concerned. And the first word you used was I got numb. to it. I got
Yeah.
used to it.
Yeah.
But then you took the numbness and I did move forward. Let's go back a little bit more.
Mhm.
What was the reaction to your friends? Because see, this is where I'm going with this part. You're still a teenager.
Yeah.
You just got called the N word going to your friend's party. They must felt comfortable with you coming
Yeah.
to the party. But
Yeah.
here, this is what I always say about police too. Police are designed to, the police department is designed to keep you where you need to be.
Mhm.
Protect property, protect people, but protect property.
Mhm.
You didn't fit the description for the property area in which you was going into.
Yeah.
The housing community made that noted. We don't want this. This is what you look for.
Yeah.
Now let's move forward. You go to the party, they go to validate you have the right to be there. When you went to the party, what was your what was the your friend's response to what had happened? And did they say it needs to something needs to happen?
Nah, man. We 17 years old, Dre. We didn't have that mindset, man. We were just like, typical kid. Oh man, that's some bullshit. But hey man, let's come on, let's go talk to these chicks.
Right.
That was it. There was really nothing to it. And the reason why I say I got numb to it is not the simple fact, I should have rephrased that. Maybe I wasn't numb. I just knew, all right, look, it is what it is. There's no need for me to get upset. Let me just go with it. But one day I'm gonna get my lick back.
Mm.
I'm gonna get my lick back. I don't know how, but one day, one way or the other, I'm gonna get my lick back. It just go with it. Just go with it. Just could be by me running my mouth off the board, I might not be here talking to you right now.
Right. Right. So
So
you wind up.
I gotta put my poker face on.
So did you talk to your parents about going into law enforcement, and what was their take on it?
They were afraid. They were afraid. They especially in South Carolina, they were afraid. And I think it was more fear. They was more afraid for how our culture would perceive me. Because most black men in law enforcement to our culture, we see him as an Uncle Tom, you know, a house nigga, um, not very well received in our community. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I didn't I didn't come across that. I guess it's how I carry myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I approach people. I'm gonna give you an example, right? Dre, let's say if I stopped you for speeding, right? I'm gonna just say, let's say you're going 80 and a 55. So when you get pulled over, you already kind of tense, right?
Mm-hmm.
You already thinking like, oh shoot, what's gonna happen? I know this. I've been in that position. So when I approach the vehicle, I'm like, hey, how you doing, sir? My name is such and such Miller. Hey man, what if I at? Huh? I said, what if I at? They start laughing. So I'm breaking the ice. I
Right.
said, man, there got to be a fire somewhere. You going 80 and a 55, man. Tell you why you going so fast, bro.
Right.
See, a lot of officers don't do that, man. We got to
Right.
show the community we are humans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got a personality.
Right.
Um, give you another example. I like a guy for DUI a couple of years ago. He passed, but he came to court, and the judge asked him how he wanted to plead. He said, "Well, Your Honor, I want to say uh, I'm not guilty, but the truth, the officer was so nice to me. I believe I'm guilty." Cause the whole ride there, I'm talking to him like I'm like, we all make mistakes, man. This is why I'm telling him to ride to the while I'm about to take him to jail. I'm
Right.
explaining to him, look, man, I didn't want to do this, but hey, bro, you out here driving intoxicated.
Right.
Man, let's not make this a habit, bro. You could have killed yourself, killed somebody else, man. Let's
Right.
make this a one-time mistake in life.
Right.
It's the way to do things, man. We don't have to be assholes to everybody. And not
Right.
every officer is assholes to somebody.
Right.
But I just wanted to be that officer that everybody, because the whole point of us being law enforcement, you want the community to trust us. So I want to be that person to be able to trust me. So if I train the next officer, he can kind of take notes and, impregnate my things that I do, and he can go do the same thing in his career. Now it comes a trickle down effect, a domino effect
Mm-hmm.
of how we could be the change in enforcement, in law enforcement.
But you mentioned something about the domino effect.
Mhm.
But I also know reality is reality.
Yeah,
You're still going to have those individuals that infiltrate the
yeah,
structure the same way you did. You came in the
mhm,
infrastructure to make a difference. You also have those officers that go in to empower themselves and to use the badge and the gun as a weapon to intimidate.
mhm.
And I'm pretty sure you ran across a couple of those officers. So my question to that is, how do you get along with your fellow co-workers that you know can care less about people of any minorities? Because we've seen such movies as um, what movie did I see? It had Don Cheadle and Wesley Snipes, and they were police officers, and you just saw the conflict. They was open with corruption cops, and this one cop didn't want to work with the black guy, and forget these ends. And I'm thinking, wow. And I always
Yeah,
tell people, television tells you pretty much like it is. But you came across police officers like that in your day to day? You don't have to give any names, but
yeah,
let's
yeah.
let's be real.
But I'm gonna say this, Dre. I thank God. People might think I'm capping. I thank God I have it. But if I have, trust me, and I let people be known. I let my officers know. You do something fucked up, I'm turning your ass in. I'm
Mm.
documenting it. I'm turning you in. No and ifs or buts about it. You treat that person like you. I say that's somebody mother. That's somebody father. That's somebody wife, uncle, such and such. You treat them the same way you want them to treat your loved one. I don't care what race they are.
Right.
Now, I will say this. I ain't saying no names. My first year, it wasn't with the agency I'm with now. It was with another agency. Had a situation with an officer. We was going to a K9 call, and the officer stated, like, hey, when we get here, I'm gonna have to do something to the dog. I said, okay, yeah, the dog attacked you. He said, nah. He said, nah. When we get here, I'm gonna just go ahead and do something. I said, man, I told him straight, I'm new. Hell no, you ain't doing that. Get me out of the car. I'm riding with somebody else. I don't
Mm.
want to witness that.
What was he going to do with the dog?
Shoot it.
Why?
I don't know, because we get a lot of calls on it. I assume. I don't know. Didn't care. My mindset was that the dog ain't doing shit. Let the dog be. It's a damn canine. So if you're gonna do that to a canine, what the fuck you gonna do to a human?
Wow. And you know what might be even more funny? He might still be on the force.
No, he's not. Thank God. Thank God he's not. Thank God, man.
Like, how has you been on the force for a while?
13 years.
13 years. And my hats off to you for providing service. Like I said, both of my brothers are in law enforcement. I give respect when I'm giving respect. That's how I look at law enforcement. You know what I mean? And I wish a lot of the people look at it the way you do, because from what I understand about law enforcement, a successful day in law enforcement is when you can put your badge up and your gun and go home to be with your
That,
family.
that's the goal. That is the goal. Facts. Facts.
Um, but now we're seeing so much, like you said, in the media. I just saw, I think it was on your post,
Mhm.
the situation with Warren Sapp,
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
situation with Ice T. And
Yeah.
it's funny because why would you want to? It's almost like what Ice T said, dude. Are
Mhm.
you trying to get overnight sensation by harassing me? I'm at the license branch right here. That's why
Yeah.
I'm bringing my car here to get it done. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking to myself, okay, now you bring in extra drama with extra officers and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, if I'm the police captain or the commander in chief, that dude would have been fired. I'd be like, dude, you shouldn't have had me get in my patrol car to come here and de-escalate some bullshit, especially with a dude that can bring the department a bad name. You just got
Yeah.
Ice T over here, who's you can't be more polarized than that dude.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
you got celebrities like Warren Sapp, but let's use that as an example. But let's also talk about those that are undocumented, the ones who get harassed daily, and it could have went totally different in that same scenario if it had been just me, Blojo, or somebody else. What's your take on that?
You talking about just officers harassing people, just the regular Joe Blow?
Yeah,
I feel like it started with the agency. I think with our agency, we do an extent background check. I mean, they go back to when you were in middle school, high school. They talk to your teachers in middle school, high school, college, your previous job, the jobs you had before, whatever. They want to find out what type of person they are getting. Once you pass that, that's the first process of our hiring process, the background.
right.
Um, I think a lot of agencies need to implicate that reasoning because a lot of people come here just want the badge and the look.
Yeah.
Um, probably 75% of police officers probably got bullied in school and feel like they're getting their get back by putting the badge on. Um, it's just they have to do an extended background check. There's a lot of people, a lot of these guys don't know about our culture, so they come in here and just assume that, hey, look at what he wearing, look what he driving, look what neighborhood in. That we up to no good. You
Mm-hmm.
got to educate yourself. Just like with me, I told you before, I went to the predominantly black high school. I mean, white high school. So I'm kind of culturally inclined on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what to see. I know what to see, what good and bad in each culture. I can peep that out from a distance. Not everybody had that same experience that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like training wise, we need to have a culture class too for blacks and whites.
Mm-hmm.
Blacks that's not familiar with the white culture or any other culture, they need to have a training class for that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with whites, with they're not experienced with the black culture, any other culture. You have a training class for that. It all starts with the training, man. How you was raised and your training and also the hiring process, in my opinion. I don't agree with harassing people.
Right.
People got stuff going on all day, man. People got shit going on all day, bro. And that person you harass, that might be the day that you're gonna have to walk it like you talk.
Now,
That's what they gonna
I've heard off the record that racial profiling is what they teach in the academies, but they teach it in a way that doesn't make it sound like it's racial profiling. You know, like when you was young and you fit the profile of a car, blah 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 blah. I mean, how do you learn this lingo if it wasn't taught in the academy?
man. Well, racial profiling wasn't taught in our academy. Um, how you was raised. If you was raised by an individual that looks at another culture a certain way, you're going to impregnate that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Unless something in life changes your ways, you're going to be impregnated. Like I was growing up, right? When I was
Right.
growing up, I was never afraid of the police. I was taught that they was here to protect. I'm a black man. I'm a black young male. Wasn't afraid of police. I was taught to show respect. They're here to protect us. I was more afraid of my mom, my dad, and my grandparents than the police. No, real talk.
Yeah.
I was more afraid of them. Like if I ever got stopped, whenever I got stopped for a speeding ticket, I wasn't nervous for them pulling me over. I was trying to figure out how I'm explaining this to my mama.
Mm.
So it's all about how you was raised, how you was brought up. Now, if you was brought up that, uh, hey, black people, it ain't nothing but this. If you see him driving this car, it's no good. It's something going on. A black man ain't supposed to be driving that. Same thing with a white person. Oh man, if you see them with a beat up such and such, I guarantee some type of drugs in there. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying?
So
It's just
does a
how you
lot
was
of
brought
this
up.
stuff? Does a lot of this stuff is pretty much impregnated in the mind through television?
That's
Then.
all it is. It's how you was brought up. That's why I was saying earlier, when these agencies hire people, they got to do an extent background check. The agency I work for, they ain't just hiring any old Joe Blow. I'm telling you, they not
What have,
hiring any old Joe Blow. You got to be on point. Your record got to be pretty much damn near squeaky clean.
what have you seen change since you've been um, since you've seen these new processes being implemented in through your agency? What have you seen change?
In the manner of what?
Just law enforcement in general, how the police interact with civilians. And let me explain to you where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got ICE out. Now you got deportation. You got, you know, people are in panic mode right now. And I understand safety is a concern for everybody, both law enforcement and civilians. How has things changed with all this stuff that's going on in the last couple of months for you and your department, and how you guys um um approach people in general?
Um, I noticed, well, with the crew that I work with and other surrounding law enforcement agency, I noticed like it's a little bit more passionate. I
Okay.
think because how everything is, like you say, how society it is right now. I
Hmm.
think officers that would normally jump the gun, they starting to think a little bit more now before they just assume something, and just be a little bit more passionate and try to do a further investigation of the situation instead of just jumping ahead. Or they probably got this, that, and the third. So
let's
just
talk
passion.
let's talk about this Miller experience.
Mhm.
Why did you feel a need for that, and to create a podcast platform, um being in law enforcement? Like, what's the big message when you say experience? That's a big word.
Yeah.
Let's go a little bit deeper into this podcast and what brought the ideal up and what's its focus.
So I always tell people, right? It started during the pandemic. The pandemic is a gift and a curse.
Okay.
It's a gift if you're the type of person that you know. If it's a gift, the United States, the country shut down. Everything shut down during the pandemic. So everybody's trying to figure out how they're gonna do this and that, do this and that. It's a gift if you're the type of person that you're a hustler, that you're trying to make a change, whatever. I think it was the perfect time to get my voice heard. Now, before I go there, I want to fast forward in the beginning. I went to Bethune-Cookman College. I majored in communication. Uh, Obviously, being a kid, I didn't pass. Hey, I was outside too much. I didn't graduate college, but communication was always my passion.
Right.
Wasn't law enforcement. I love law enforcement, but what I'm doing now on the side, this was
Right.
always my passion. Law enforcement, my passion too, but this was my first love here. So that's why I said the pandemic was a gift, because I noticed everyone started doing these podcasts. I'm like, this is something that I always want to do, be in front of the camera. But I didn't have a degree. I thought you had to have a degree to be able to work for the news or do some type of sports anchor or even be on the radio. I'm like, yo, this is perfect. I can really get my thoughts out here. Uh, Guy with my buddy Victor, you've seen him on my show, guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
He's heavy into videographer. So we got together, came up with the plan, came up with the name, the Mill Experience. And the Mill Experience pretty much is having up close and personal conversations with people that I admire.
Hmm.
Like if I'm talking to you, I admire your hustle. I would love to have you on my show and talk to you. Anybody else you've seen on my show, these are people that I personally have an admiration for, and I want to know more about the individual.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the last episode you did with Warren Sapp. What's your take on that?
So that happened 4 years ago. That was like a throwback Thursday. So
Yeah, that's right. It was Throwback Thursday.
yeah, throwback Thursday.
I like the way you marketed that. I'm like, I don't know why I didn't think of it. Yeah, I did see the Throwback Thursday.
Throwback Thursday, yeah.
What was the
But
reason for
what
bringing that
happened with
back?
that, it was like I grew up and I played football. I played linebacker. But I used to love Warren Sapp, man. That was one of my favorite players. I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, but Warren Sapp was one of the players that I liked whenever Tampa Bay played. So I'm on Instagram trying to hit people up for interviews, and I came across Warren Sapp Instagram. I noticed that his number was on his page. I called it. Didn't expect him to answer the phone. I'm thinking he probably had a representative or something. He answered the phone. I'm like, hey, how you doing, Mr. Sapp? Good afternoon, Mr. Sapp. My name is Ernest Miller. I'm just calling in reference to a possible interview if you're interested. I said, what? I'm like, yeah, a possible interview if you're interested. He's like, man, you calling me on my phone 12 o'clock in the afternoon about an interview? I said, yeah. I said, yeah, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That's correct. I feel like that's a decent time to call somebody. You know, he was
Yeah.
like, man, get off my line, man. Get off my line. What you doing with my number? I said, well, your number is on your Instagram page. I think it was okay to call you since you put it on your Instagram page. Did you not? I'm an asshole at this point. I'm matching his energy.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you not remember? Or the CTE kicked in. So we started going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and he hung the phone up on me. That was it. I always heard rumors that Warren Sapp was an asshole.
Yeah.
But I got to experience that for myself, so I can confirm that rumor. He is a fucking asshole. Fuck you, Warren.
It's funny. It's funny. Let me go back a minute.
Uh,
Let me go back a minute. And it's sad that he's labeled as an asshole, but when they won the Super Bowl, I had just moved to Tampa the year they won the Super Bowl.
yeah,
My brother-in-law was the head maintenance at a complex that all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lived at.
yeah.
And that was the year they all got the Hummers.
Oh,
And
yeah,
my brother-in-law didn't know who Warren Sapp was. He don't follow
yeah,
football.
yeah,
And um he walked in and Warren, according to what he told me, Warren was addicted to him too. He was like, "You don't know who the fuck I am." But my brother-in-law
yeah,
was like, "I don't follow sports." You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But he was like, he had a. I told my brother-in-law, I said, "Oh, that's Warren Sapp." Blah 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 blah. He was like, "Dude, that's the worst." He said, "That's the most arrogant son of a bitch I've ever seen in my life." And I don't like sports, but this dude copped an attitude because I did not know who the fuck he was. So I can back you on that. And my brother-in-law has no reason to lie about anything because he don't follow sports. Did he ever call you back and say, I'm sorry, blah blah blah?
hell no.
I see my number is on this piece of paper.
Hell no, that sloppy motherfucker, man. He went in and just took his damn phone off Instagram. He finally, I guess he took my advice and he took his cell phone number off Instagram.
Just
But he
cause
never called me back. He never called me back. I'm surprised Dion even brought him on the staff. I respect Dion, but when he brought him on the staff, I'm like, man, why you put that damn fucking cancer? He's a Hall of Fame football player, but he's an asshole, personally. You know what I'm saying? That's
and
not a guy you want around your kids, man, teaching them how to play ball.
and you know what? I kind of said the same thing. No, let me take it back. I did say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Deion Sanders. I have his autographed jersey. I'm a Deion Sanders fan. One of if not, he is the best player at that position that he played. Plain simple. Don't get me wrong. I do like Warren Sapp, but you still have to, because you a good football player doesn't mean you a good PR person. Now, first of all, he don't even know who the fuck you are. You
Mm-hmm.
protect and serve this city. You're making a difference. What a
Mm-hmm.
great platform for him to been on to
Mm-hmm.
resonate something.
Yep.
And that was a fluke situation. You
Yeah.
put your number on there. But
Yep.
instead of, some people should not be entitled.
I agree. I
That's all I
agree.
got to say. Some
I
people
agree.
don't need to be entitled. And I'm like you. When Dion talked about bringing him aboard, I was like, that's not the dude you want to attach your
I'm
wagon.
telling you, man. Just because he was a great football player doesn't mean he's a great human. Like he was just. I watched some of his interviews with Vlad TV, and he treat him like shit. I'm like, damn, dude, ask you a simple question. What you getting attitude for? You know what you on there for? You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. It's just he's different. He's different. I can confirm that the guy at my gym that run my gym, he tried out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And when I told him the story 4 years ago, he confirmed the same thing with your brother-in-law just confirmed.
Yeah,
He said,
I
"Yeah,
mean,
Sap is a fucking asshole."
it's really sad because you're a Hall of Famer, but you treat people like shit, and you're going to be known as a person that always treat. Oh, great football player, Hall of Famer, but you know what? He's a dick. He's an
Yeah,
ass.
yeah.
So let me go forward with the. Let me first say I'm sorry that that happened to you because it never should have happened, especially with someone that you buy the tickets to go watch him play. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? That you sat here and you didn't say nothing bad about him, even on my show. You said, "Hey, I had a bad experience with this dude." You know,
yeah.
so now your objective towards him is different. But let's keep going with the experience. What are you looking to do with the Miller's experience? Like, have other officers or other individuals come to you with information and knowledge and their experience that can help you resonate your message out into the world?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Dre. I don't think nobody came to me, and I do have some officers that support me, but I think my mentality is a little different than anybody else. Like I said, I don't look at myself just as a law enforcement officer. I look at myself as an entrepreneur also.
Okay.
It's more things that I want to do with my life than just worrying about writing tickets and working collisions, just putting people in jail. So to answer that question, no, they haven't. I know some of them don't support me, some of them do, because it's just not their thing. I think it's a little, I think it's a little hate inside because I'm preparing for my retirement.
Right.
To answer your other question, I want to go far with this. I want this to be a nationwide platform. I
Right.
want to be like yours, Club Shay Shay. That's my whole goal.
Okay.
I want to be on other markets.
Okay.
I'm trying to get sponsors right now, trying to be able to get sponsors so I can be able to fly to some of these guests. Like, perfect example, I got in contact with Adrian James, and he told me he'll do the show, but he don't do like Zoom or StreamYard. I
Yeah.
got to come to him, and he'll do my show.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get different sponsors so they can assist me with, be able to travel more so I can get you know, bigger interviews.
And Edrin James is a great guy. I reached out to
Yeah.
him when I first started this podcast. His family was really nice. He sent me stuff to help promote his daughter. She's a singer, which we did. And I
Okay.
get it. A lot of people don't want to fly, but he did. I believe it was his manager. I can't think of her name right now, but he was like, Dre, I would be more than willing to do this, do it. You can come out to I think he was in Orlando at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately we just grew so quickly that even though that was an opportunity, we didn't need the opportunity. But the fact that he was willing to accommodate me to the best of his ability, I had made me feel even a great sense of respect for Edwin James and stuff, because most celebrities won't even do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's just like I had now this wasn't a law enforcement person, but somebody I hate when people come to me and don't put a name to it, but someone came to me and said, "Hey man, some people saying like, man, why you keep doing podcasts? Why you just stick to law enforcement and lifting weights?" Because I'm more than that, man.
Yeah.
I'm more than that. I got a voice, man. I want y'all to hear it.
Somebody's
People that
already
have to,
typecast you already.
they already typecast me already, and y'all know if anybody know me, they know I'm more than just working out, having a badge on me. I got a voice, man. I want to talk. I love talking to people. That's my biggest thing. I love to talk to people. That's why when I go to these collisions and stuff, I talk to people. I can make a bad situation until they forget that they just got in the wreck because I'm talking to
Huh. How are you being
them.
perceived at your job? You're doing
Oh, they
something
call
that's supposed to be on
now,
the down low.
now. Some of them, they call me Hollywood, man. Hey, Hollywood, you gonna come over here and eat with us today? They call me Hollywood. Like I say, some of the guys support. But I know it's a bit. I hear some chattering too about other officers saying other things, but I just ignore that. I
Yeah.
actually embrace the hate. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I embrace it. The more you hate, the stronger I get.
And you know what?
Mhm.
What's to say when you blow up, they'd be like, son of a bitch.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
And they don't know. They
Yeah.
already got plans. I already got plans, man. God willing, man. If this thing take off like I want it to,
So
I'm gonna go.
let's talk about that. Is it cheat day? What's that?
Yeah, my cheat day hoodie. So these are my cheat day hoodie, right? You know it's cold outside, right?
Yeah.
Everybody ain't eating too healthy right now because they don't see what you looking like under them clothes. So that's why we got the cheat day hoodie. You know what I'm saying? When you ready to go cheat, just put on your hoodie and do what you got to do, baby.
You know what? Hey, I'm a former professional bodybuilder and trainer, and I always tell my clients, you get a cheat day. I don't want to know what you had on your cheat day. Go do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, you better be back in the gym doing what you need to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need to
Exactly.
be back in the gym.
Exactly.
Have you always got involved in working out?
Always. Yeah. I've been into fitness since 15 years old.
Really?
Um, I got into it. I actually got into it to play football. Um, and I just got addicted to it. The training aspect, the dieting, I just got addicted to it. And even after I finished college, I played a little college ball for Bethune-Cookman. I played running back and outside linebacker. But even when I left college, I just proceeded to do it. But this time, I had to have a reason to continue it, so I got into bodybuilding also. I
Hmm.
competed for like 4 years. Never went national, never went pro or anything, but I love the grind of bodybuilding. I love the dieting. I love the got to get up in early in the morning, get my hour cardio in, eating my 6 meals a day, getting that training in, resting. It was just something about the grind of it. It
Okay, so
wasn't,
why you didn't want to go up there with us with the big boys up at the national
man.
and
You know
get their
what?
pro card?
I thought about it, but it just got too. My wife got pregnant,
Okay.
so and you already know that's a second job prepping for a show, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You you know that's a second job, and I knew during that time I couldn't prep like I want to.
Right,
So I'm like, I'm not gonna go in half-assed. You
right.
know, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go do full blown. So after that, I just started just training others, and I just maintained my physique, but I wasn't dieting hard to get ready for a show. But I'm actually thinking about doing it again,
Uh
probably
oh.
this year, next year. I'm
Uh
thinking
oh.
about it. It's crossing my mind. My daughter 14 years old now, so I got time to prep now, man.
Okay, I'm more than willing to help you get to that next level,
Okay,
dude.
okay, we can do that. We can do that.
So you shared something with me off camera that I think is really it needs to be polarized.
Mhm.
You're working with athletes that are fatherless to allow them to have an opportunity for knowledge. You have two jerseys behind you. I'm not feeling number 12 because
Hey, I'm
I'm a
not either,
Dallas
but I'm a
Cowboy
Packer fan.
fan.
You know what?
I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. I know what you're about to say. Yeah, but the thing about us Cowboy fans, I know Stephen A. Smith hates it's not that he hates the Cowboys, but I get what Stephen A. Smith says. You know, they're America's team. They're the most polarized team, and I get it. We haven't been to the playoffs in quite some time, but I do respect the fact that you do have Aaron Rodgers back there. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks of our generation. I'm not a Green Bay Packer fan,
I
but I do respect talent, and number 12 behind you is definitely a talent. With
Oh
two
yeah, most
jerseys
definitely.
behind you, what's your mission with the football project that you're trying to launch?
So number two is Brian Mans. He's played for Clemson. Um, he got sick and he became paralyzed from the pretty much from the waist down. Uh, Me and Brian right now we getting it's not athletes, just the youth and young men, period, black or white, from the ages of 13 to 16, 12 to 16, that's fathers. And we want to have a mentoring program with them. Probably take them to like some football games, um, take them out places, just teach them how to tie ties, just the basic stuff, change tires, check your oil, change oil, just different man stuff that,
Mm-hmm.
they probably not get from home from their mother.
Mm-hmm.
The key is we just working in law enforcement, man. These young men, you could tell the young men that don't have at least a strong male figure in their life or don't have a father in their life. I'm gonna give you a perfect example, right? Uh, I remember I was just patrolling and I saw a vehicle stuck in the middle of the road. Put my blue lights on, got out the vehicle. Two young ladies in the front seat. One of the ladies, the driver was pregnant. So I was like, oh man, what's going on? Time our car just stopped on us. I said, all right. I said, well, ma'am, I told the passenger, I said, ma'am, you probably want to get. I said, I will help you push, but I got to get behind you guys with my blue lights, make sure nobody hit you guys while you're trying to move the vehicle out the road.
Mm.
So I said, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to push the vehicle, and I'm going to be right behind you, my blue light. She's like, okay. So when I'm talking to her, when she got in the car, I'm looking in the back seat. I see a young man in the back seat on his phone. I said, hold on. I said, hey, who's this? Oh, that's my little cousin. I said, young man, how old are you? 17. I said, so hold on, time out. You see me talking to them about getting out of the car, to push the vehicle so y'all guys can be safe. And your ass, I said, just like this. I said, your ass sitting in here playing on your phone? He just started laughing. I said, hell, hey, get your ass out the car, man, push this car. I said, get your ass out the car and push this car. I said, man, get back in the car. So he got up and pushed. And I asked him, I said, man, I ain't trying to be your business, young man. I said, but what made you think that it was cool for you to sit in the car, you had these young ladies go out here and push the car? He said, I don't know. I said, what your dad would say? He said, I don't know my dad. I
Wow.
said, what about your grandfather? My grandfather's dead. I said, you got any uncles? He said, man, they're all in jail. So that's
Wow.
what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Like these young men now, I tell my daughter, I said, I feel sorry for your. I said, I feel sorry for you because the way some of these guys are, you ain't gonna find a man like your daddy.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of these
And
women now.
and you know
Go
what?
ahead.
You know what? Excalibur. He didn't
Mhm.
even register.
It
He
didn't
didn't
register to him. He
register.
just exactly. It didn't register like, oh, I need to get out and push the car. He just sitting on his phone.
Wow. And the
It's a
things that
lot of young men. It's a
the
lot of
things.
young men that know how to change tires. I go out here on the interstate with a tire's flat. True story. Mother had a flat tire. She called for help. I went out there to assist. I see these two grown ass boys getting out of the back seat. You remember the clumps, Hercules,
Yeah.
Hercules, Hercules,
Yeah.
Hercules
Yeah.
looking young boys, man. I said, hey man, I said, ma'am, I said, these I said, you got these young boys back here, why they couldn't change the tire? She said, oh, they don't know how. I said, ma'am, they're gonna learn today. They learned that day. I didn't touch I didn't touch nothing. I got them through. Y'all gonna learn today. I say, man, y'all are young men. Y'all should know the basics, how to at least change a tire.
Yeah.
I taught my daughters how to change a tire.
Uh,
That's basic. That's basic. So that's what I'm saying. I want to teach our young men how, to do the basic things in life, man. Uh, just being a man, manhood, knowing that education is important. We know we're going to get on them about their studies, make sure they're doing their homework, everything, talk to their teachers. We just want I feel like this is our future. And if we don't sit here and try to work on our future now, we're going to be fucked up when we get older.
hmm.
Because these are the people we supposed to be relying on.
How many people are collaborating with you
Uh,
on this project so far?
so far, it's just me, Brian, his wife, and also another brother of mine, Quentin Kelly. He's a teacher. He's a school teacher. He's an eighth grade teacher.
Well, at least that's a start. And I
Yeah.
encourage the viewers that are listening, reach out, and this does need funding as well. So, make sure you guys reach out to him and support the cause. This is local though. This is
This is
within the
local.
community.
It's starting off local, but hopefully, we could, hopefully we'll be able to do it, on a bigger scale. Um, Also, I forgot to add on here. I have connections to the detention center. I used to work at the detention center.
Oh,
So we will be bringing the young men through the jail and let them see what the jail looks like. Not from what the movies make it seem like. We're going to show you the real deal. If you do X, Y, and Z, this is where you're going to be.
wow.
So I got that on plan right now. That's going to be part of the program. We're going to have them do a walkthrough in the jail. That's why I say I want the young men that's fatherless. If you have a father in your life, you can come, but I don't want to step on any toes. You know what I'm saying? If the
Right.
father feel like, hey, my son don't need this, cool. But I definitely want to target a young man that doesn't have a father, that's fatherless.
And you know what? It's cool that you're doing that. My hat's off to you. I encourage
Mhm.
individuals to definitely be a part of that program, whether you send money or whatever. You know, help these kids to see that there is a choice. It's so funny. I share somewhat of a similar situation. You know, a lot of these kids need to know that somebody cares about them. That's the bottom line.
That's it, man. That's it. They just they want to be loved. They want to be loved. That's all. They want to be loved.
I like the Scare Straight program.
Yeah.
My mom sent me to it when I was little.
Yeah.
I remember I cried. I was like,
Hey,
I
I
walked
sent
in,
my
I walked in tough, but I
yeah,
came out and go, I don't want to do this.
my stepsons, right? They're now 30 and 26. Well, I call them my sons, not my stepson. But during the point when me and their mom first got together, the first 3 years, they used to give their mom hell. And I used to tell my wife, I said, hey man, they're running game on you. She didn't want to believe it. She was a single mother.
Yeah.
So I was working at the detention center there then, and I took them through the lockup hall, the 23 and 1. So pretty much these are guys that stuck behind the wall for 23 hours and they can only come out for an hour of rest. So they already going crazy. Man, we went through the walkthrough. They saw the cells and the guys banging on the wall, feces being thrown at the window. They act like, the inmates act like they throwing feces at them, but it's only hitting their window. They jumping scared. And guys just banging, banging, banging on the wall, call them all kind of names. Man, we left out of them, both of them crying.
Yeah.
And they went home and they apologized to my wife and said they tried to do better.
They didn't give you no more problems after that.
I ain't no more problems.
How
But see,
can
they never gave me problems. It was just they was always giving my wife problems. But my wife, that motherly figure,
yeah,
she's going to ignore it. But I didn't like that. So
yeah.
I said, all right, cool. I got something for y'all.
That's called what's that movie with Tyrese? Uh Baby
Baby
Boy.
boy.
Baby Boy.
Baby boy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, yeah, you're right. I was like Ben Rames.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. That's another topic we can talk about,
Yeah,
where mothers handicap young men. I
I
get
agree.
it. I get it for the lack of fathers not being there, but let's call it what it is too.
Yeah.
A lot of mothers put men in the situation to not want to be fathers because both may or may not have the ability to communicate. Because I know a
Well,
lot of fathers that really probably want to be a part of their father's life, but sometimes the system and the lack of communication skills on both kind of hinders that. What have you thought about that?
I'm gonna say that's BS on the father wants to be in the child life, but the mother is hindering from it. And the reason why I'm gonna say it's BS because I'm a living testimony of that.
Mhm.
So my ex, I got a soon to be 18-year-old daughter from my ex, right?
Mhm.
Uh, we weren't together um during the time that I met my wife. But when me and my wife started getting serious and we moved in together, somehow I couldn't see my daughter anymore,
Mhm.
right? So I used to complain about it, right? I was like, man, I'm like literally probably 5 miles away from my child. I can't see it because the mother's giving me hell about it. Like every time I want to see her, it's always an excuse. So my wife, she pretty much just told me straight up, said, why don't you do something about it? I said, okay. I said, well, what can I do? She said, just figure it out. So you know what I did? A lot
What?
of people they look at me like I was crazy, but actually I'm a tell all the young men to do this. I put myself on child support. And the reason why I did that is now there will be no excuse for me to see my child. If she doesn't allow me to see my child, that's a violation of court order and she can go to jail.
Yeah, but isn't child support in some states, child support and visitation are two separate cases?
Not in South Carolina.
Okay.
If,
Okay. That's what I
if
was going to
you're
say,
on child
because in
support,
certain states, in
okay,
Indiana, it's two different cases. You can pay child support, and if there's not a visitation order put in place, they can still
see that's
withhold
the
your
thing though.
child.
You got to put that visitation order in place. You got to put that in there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
up to the father. That's one of the speculations. You
Okay.
got to put that visitation order in there, and
Okay.
that's what I did.
Okay. Yeah,
So
because I went through the same scenario where
yeah,
I paid lawyers and did all that and did the child support, and the mother refused. I was like, hey, what's up with my rights? And it took a judge after so many years to say, well, that's two separate orders. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Two separate orders. What did I pay
yeah,
this lady for? Well,
yeah,
you needed to add that in, or we got to file a separate order because child support and visitation is two different things. That's like, this is crazy. This is
oh well,
this is really all about money, nickels and dimes. Nobody's
yeah,
concerned about the rights of the father wanting to see the kid, especially when you're dealing with maybe toxicity.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? But you was
yeah.
able to, who informed you to do both of them at the same time, to put
That was
both.
my wife. Like I said, my wife actually, she kind of put that bug in my ear. She said, "You ever thought about trying to put yourself on child support?" And I said, I never thought about that. Child support don't scare me. 'Cause I take care of my child regardless. All it is now is just a court order. They have to pay this, and that. But I never thought about it. She said, look into it. So I went in there and looked into it, and they told me, yes, you can put yourself on child support, and you can also mandate that you have visitation rights,
Wow.
every 2 weeks. So that's what I did. And guess what? When I did that, do you know she was calling me, begging me not to do it?
What?
I said, nah. I said, no. I said, look, every time I want to see my child, it's always an issue. I said, I have to do this for me to see my child. I have to.
What did she say she would do differently if you
She
didn't
said
do
she said she would start letting me see my child. I didn't trust that because she done ran that game on me before.
it?
So I say that to say this: if a man truly wants to see his child, ain't no woman, ain't nobody, not even Jesus Christ himself, be able to stop you if you
That's
want to be in your child life.
you definitely have bought the experience to the show today. how can how can the viewers support you? How can they find your podcast? How can they get in contact with you to help you take this to the next level?
So you can follow me on Facebook, Xcalibur Miller, Instagram _ The Miller Experience, TikTok, The Miller Experience. My YouTube channel, please subscribe. We're currently at 923 subs. Please subscribe, like, share to the channel, The Miller Experience, and also Spotify, The Miller Experience. If you guys want to donate to the mentoring program that me and myself, Brian Mance, we're starting up, you can either DM me at the _ The Miller Experience, or you could DM Brian Mance, Brian K. Mance on Instagram for further information on helping out with that.
Now, you sure you don't want to bring another experience to the table, like maybe providing a phone number? They won't get the same
Okay,
responses.
I'm
They
sorry.
won't get the same responses Warren Sapp gave you.
You're right. You're right. So my telephone number, I don't know Brian number by heart, but my telephone number is 803-565-9752. Again, 803-565-9752. Or you can hit me up on my email. Check it out. EAENEST Miller 83 at gmail.com. Again, EAENEST Miller 83 at gmail.com. You can hit me up to donate to the Mill Experience podcast and also to the mentoring program.
You know what? Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and share truly experience that only you can tell. Um, we'll talk more. I definitely want to have you coming back on the show to tell a little bit more about the project that you have going on with the mentoring of the young men. I want to be a part of that. In the
Okay.
meantime, make sure you reach out to them. Let's support each other. That's all it takes is a click of a button, a phone call to make a difference in somebody's life. This has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show.